Have you ever felt a chill when someone you trusted suddenly seemed distant? That's your first raven warning signal you can't afford to overlook in your professional life. Many believe they possess emotional intelligence, but relying solely on this can mask a deeper risk that could unravel your leadership approach without warning. Picture this: you're in a meeting. Your team is nodding and smiling, but beneath the surface, tensions are brewing. You sense it, yet you brush it aside, thinking they're fine. This is where the danger lies. Dismissing those raven warnings can breed a toxic culture, leaving your team feeling unsupported and disengaged. Recall that time a colleague you seemed off. Maybe they missed deadlines or avoided eye contact. You rationalized it as just a rough week, but what if it was a cry for help? This is the emotional intelligence trap, assuming you understand without truly empathizing. Consider a manager who believes friendliness is enough. They joke and laugh, but shy away from serious conversations. The team craves genuine connection, yet they are left wanting. The silence speaks volumes, often unnoticed until it's too late. What about those moments when feedback is ignored? Hesitating to address a colleague's behavior allows the issue to fester. What starts as a small problem can escalate into a crisis, eroding trust and jeopardizing your leadership. Now, envision yourself as that leader. You aim to motivate, but you are missing that essential connection. Empathy is optional, it's vital. It's about engaging in uncomfortable conversations and truly understanding others' experiences. Recognizing those raven signs before they escalate is crucial. So, what's the solution? Start by building genuine relationships. Ask questions, listen actively, and embrace vulnerability. It's not just about reading emotions, it's about feeling them. Create an environment where your team feels safe to express their challenges. As we wrap up, reflect on your leadership style. Are you heeding those raven warnings? Consider the connections you are nurturing and the empathy you are offering. It's all about transforming your approach. Next time you sense something isn't right, don't ignore it. Lean in, engage, and remember that true leadership transcends emotional intelligence. It's rooted in authentic empathy. Listen closely to those whispers before they turn into roars. What if I told you that the qualities we admire in leaders like emotional intelligence might be masking something more troubling? Something that could undermine their leadership entirely. Picture a team struggling to meet deadlines, tensions rising, and in the midst of it all, a leader who seems to grasp everyone's feelings. But are they truly connecting, or just skimming the surface? This is a common trap for many leaders. When they lean solely on emotional intelligence instead of genuine empathy, it can create a facade. They might think they are fostering a supportive atmosphere, but the reality can be quite different. But they Imagining a team member approaching their leader after a tough week, seeking understanding. Instead of real support, they receive a well-meaning platitude. It feels comforting at the moment, but when the next crisis hits, that connection quickly fades. This isn't just about feelings, it's about trust. When leaders fail to empathize genuinely, their teams start to pick up on it. A subtle shift occurs, communication weakens, morale dips, and suddenly, a once thriving workplace becomes a breeding ground for resentment. Have you seen this in your own workplace? When leaders focus on emotional intelligence without true empathy, they unintentionally create an environment where people hesitate to communicate openly. There's a ticking clock here. The more leaders rely on emotional intelligence, the greater the risk of losing their team's loyalty. It's a silent drift, often unnoticed until it's too late. Consider a scenario where a leader, despite their charm and emotional insight, overlooks a team member's burnout. They might say, "I understand," but they miss the weight of unspoken struggles. That team member could be on the verge of a breakdown, feeling invisible. Now, the stakes are high. What happens when these hidden stress signals go unchecked? An engaged employee leaves, taking not just their skills, but also a piece of the team's spirit with them. So, what can leaders do to bridge this gap? It's not just about feeling, it's about taking action. True empathy requires leaders to go beyond recognizing emotions. It calls for genuine connection and a willingness to act. Imagining a leader who not only listens, but also takes the time to understand the personal challenges their team faces. They create an environment where vulnerability is welcomed and addressed. This isn't just a story about leadership, it's a call to action. As we embrace emotional intelligence, let's remember it should never stand alone. Reflect on this: are we really listening or just hearing? True leadership lies not in our ability to read emotions, but in our capacity to connect deeply and authentically. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. How can you foster deeper connections in your environment? The journey toward true empathy begins with that one small step. Imagine this: your leader seems to understand you perfectly. They know how you're feeling and what you need. But what if I told you that this emotional intelligence might be masking a serious flaw? You might see this as a positive trait who would want a leader who can read the room. However, that emotional intelligence could be a stand-in for something much deeper: true empathy. And that's where the hidden risk lies. Picture this: you're in a meeting, presenting a problem that's been weighing on your mind. Your leader nods, looking attentive and responding with all the right emotional cues. But later, you realize nothing has actually changed. That's the danger of relying solely on emotional intelligence. It feels good in the moment, but often misses the mark. So, what's really going on? When leaders focus too much on emotional intelligence, they may prioritize surface-level feelings over genuine connection. It's like talking to a mirror, reflective, but ultimately empty. You might feel understood, but you are not truly being heard. Let's dig a little deeper. Imagine a workplace where your leader prides themselves on being in tune with their team's emotions. They hand out compliments, recognize achievements, and celebrate small wins. But when you raise a serious concern, that same leader brushes it aside, thinking they know best. Frustrating, right? Now, why is this an issue? When leaders confuse emotional responses with empathy, they risk alienating their team. You might hesitate to share your true thoughts, fearing they'll be dismissed. This creates a cycle of silence, a dangerous loop that can spiral out of control. Think back to a time when you felt overlooked at work. Perhaps you had a brilliant idea that didn't get the attention it deserved. It's not necessarily that your leader lacked emotional intelligence.